Elder Michael.
Yes, sir.
Please forgive me. I had got the chance to introduce you.
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast show.
Thank you.
You're one of our heralded teachers here. One of the originals, and we're honored to have you here with Elder Shadrock today.
Thank you for inviting me, Priest Kirk. I hear what Elder is saying. I completely agree with every word he speaks. I see this so-called black issue as a very serious problem, because when they should be leading, they are following. Nothing wrong with following until if you have, the path to leadership. But they seem so comfortable in that capacity that it scares me. I look at the seriousness of the problem, the spiritual problem that our people have. And this is why I shun them sometimes. Because when a people have named themselves, it creates a whole negative issue that I can't deal with. Because no child, at least any righteous child, has named his or herself. Because they can't speak at that time. Then when the people, and all that is contrary to what's in the scriptures. And I try to go by the scriptures because I look for the wisdom of the God of Israel. And then I bask in that as I would bask on the beach in the sunshine or something like that. And I go from there. Then when they don't get what the scriptures are saying because they name themselves, then they get upset. Well, why not look in the mirror and see who's in control? And then you could see why you cannot understand. It's an entirely different spiritual application. The scriptures are saying one thing, the other guy is saying something completely different. So hence, the person who enticed that other guy is going to follow in his footstep, and not the guy, the man or the spirit that wrote these scriptures.
I've thought oftentimes, my name is Kirk. Mm-hmm. I would love a name like my son Malachi. Malachi or somebody from the Bible, or Samuel, right? And I can't change my name.
I like Michael Melchizedek. This is Eminem, and I could hand out M&Ms on the street wherever I go.
Michael Melchizedek.
Don't you? Doesn't it have a ring to it? And maybe then I could learn to speak Hebrew or whatever that.
But we can't do that, Michael. The type of Hebrew people talking about is not something that we really urge for us to get into speaking Hebrew. Number one, you got to understand what's Hebrew.
Yes.
Hebrew in those days was a tongue, not a language, because you cannot train your dog in Hebrew. Mm-hmm. You can train your dog in English and Spanish and all of that, but Hebrew is not a literary language. It's a spiritual language. If one person would be here and the spirit is talking to that person and the others wouldn't hear, wouldn't even understand what is being said. Mm-hmm. So we can forget it. That people who are doing that are learning from another people who don't belong to us. And because those people are doing it, they want to do it too. Mm-hmm. And that's where a problem lies. Let's talk about English language, that we can talk to our people wherever we go. In the Caribbean, in anywhere in America, or in England, wherever you want to go, we can speak English and talk to them. And that is our so-called Hebrew, because we can communicate in English. And that's very important. I wanted to bring up a matter with what you were talking about just now. And it rings a bell, but at the same time, you think, should you be talking about it? Because you don't want to give too much away to the ignorant. It's like taking all of your pearls and giving it to swines, because they're going to come up with 10,000 scriptures and say that this is this and that. And if another set of people do it, I would challenge that. But then when your own people are doing it, it means that they want to be in charge. They want to have an audience. And they want to have an audience with you, with your audience, and that's what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing that bothers me. Rather than being humble and understanding and ask questions, they are not asking questions. They are telling the story, and the audience that are listening to you. I think the last time I saw some person was telling another person or persons, humble yourself. And you don't come here to teach.
That's right.
And I looked at that carefully. Somebody else is understanding what's going on here. Yes. I thought nobody would understand, because people want to just throw scriptures and scriptures. We don't do that. We don't try with scriptures and all of that. We do that. That's Christianity. That's a Christian training. You take 1 verse, John 3:16, and you're going all over the world with it. And they don't even understand John 3:16. And I'm not going to be here to talk about that because, again, that would be another show. I understand now that it's in our on our website. I would have it. I didn't even know it was there.
I don't think in detail.
It's not in detail.
Not in detail.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because these are the things you try to not have people having too much knowledge about. Because the first thing you know, look what happened when we started.
Yes.
No Israelite. Now they're turning up like
Everywhere.
peas everywhere. They're Israelites. But no understanding, no nothing.
It's not about knowledge share. It's about bringing the family back, and we all serve the God of Israel as one family.
That's what I said in my speech. We can all stay and break bread together
Right.
and serve the God of Israel. That's not going to happen. Oh, I'm a king. When we first started, remember the guy came from Detroit and said the king sent him. So I asked him, are you from England? No, he had a king in Detroit. Remember
On behalf, he came on behalf of the King of Israel.
Yes, on behalf of the king of Israel.
Yes.
Who's the king of Israel? They're dead. And he come wearing a collar too. I think one of the brethren told him to take that thing off that he's wearing. Yeah. And he did. Then we do understand that there's a group with a person calling himself a king. They said, first let me give you the definition of a king. A king do not pay taxes. A king rules over a certain amount of people. And sometimes the king not only ruling over a certain amount of people, rule over a country.
That's right.
So if you there and the police can lock you up and the police can
Sure.
turn the place upside down, how come you're a king?
You ain't no king.
But this is what goes on with the people. The people are so much into themselves that they cannot understand simplicity. The next thing, as you said, that if anything happens, the black man is number one in a country, and the CIA killed this person. I'm just showing you how the black man cannot exist, whether he's a Hamite or a Shemite, because we in this nation, we're supposed to be Semitic.
Yes.
The black man in Africa, he's totally different, the Hamite. But everybody classifies us as one, because all of us have kinky hair. But then everybody had straight hair and 2 world wars. But it wasn't about world wars, it was about tribal wars.
Right.
And that's what this is. And you look what happened. The Germans went down flat. They built up back, they're very powerful. The Japanese were bombed flat. They come back very powerful. What happened to your favorite place that sold us into bondage? It's not coming up, but I'll tell you why. My favorite leader in Africa has always been Kwame Nkrumah. And I learned something. When somebody said the CIA going to Africa and killing all the presidents, I said that is so much of a garbage, because the CIA have to get a weakling in Africa. Somebody there, like what's happened in Grenada, somebody there have to want power
Yeah.
and want to have money
That's right.
and want to have this, and that's where the CIA come in and pays them and say, how come it's CIA? It's not CIA, it's your own people.
Own people.
right.
The CIA or whatever organization you're talking about just come in and do as a businessman. They buy so that they can get.
Right.
If I pay you, you become a president, you're going to have to give me the blah, 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 blah. So this country would never come up again, because you might be running it, but I own it. The Chinese are doing the same thing now.
Yeah.
I look what one of a great admirer. I met him in Cuba. He's such a good man. But I'm saying the Zimbabwe has been controlled by China. China is saying how to lead or not to lead. It's not the Chinese. is the weaklings inside of the country
Right.
that the Chinese would exploit to do it. It's the same thing with Israel.
Yes.
You can't sell if there's no buyers.
That's right.
It's the same thing with Israel.
That's right.
We would be here, wanted to be this big, powerful nation. But look at what would happen.
They tear you down.
Who would put us down?
Your own people.
It's not the white man. The white man is going to be secretly looking at you. But when he wants to pull you down, he's going to get somebody who's close to you. And then he can either pay them or promise them.
Yeah.
And sometimes the promise is bigger than the pay. And they go for the promise.
Every slave revolt planned.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Every one of them
Yeah.
planned.
Look at my hero, Nat Turner.
Nat Turner.
Who you think? Oh, boy, I don't like to talk. The white man there, John Brown, was doing all that he can.
That's right. And his 7 sons.
Nat Turner used to be called a prophet. I wonder why he was called a prophet.
Must be good at scriptures.
But I tell you something, I always say it, and I'm saying it again. If the God of Israel is telling you to do something now at a particular time, do it. Don't allow sickness or nothing to get in the way. That was Nat Brown's problem.
Nat Turner.
That was his big mistake, because he was supposed to do something when it was an eclipse and he got sick. He should have get up off of that bed and go and do what he was supposed to do, but he put it off. You don't put off God's work. Otherwise, I probably would have been in Hollywood right now. But no, you can't put off God's work. You got to do it. So when he decided to do it in his own time, it didn't work. The plan was all there, but it didn't work because he did not listen to the instructions that the God of Israel has given to him. It is so important that we live in a world, all we know how to do is to throw the blame. Nothing use, not the thumb, but the forefinger. Always the forefinger, never the thumb.